Hello, beloved adventurers, explorers of forgotten corners. Welcome to Elder Murk. If you are hearing this voice, feel the shadow behind you whispering something even when you close your eyes. Because today we are stepping not just into a story, but right into the heart of a betrayal thousands of years old. As you know, I am always in pursuit of ancient secrets. But this time the secret is not just ancient, it is frozen. Our tale is about a fellowship of mages who froze time around themselves to protect against the universe's greatest catastrophe, the Silent Guardians. I found their fortress, but the fortress conceals not only sleeping heroes, but also the origin of a nightmare waiting to awaken. Remember, even in the deepest sleep, the poison of betrayal continues to work. If you are ready, we begin to break the seals of the dark slumber. Keep your light close, for you would not want to be alone in the dark. Elder Murk climbed a hill forgotten by maps, deep in the heart of millennia-old forests, where even the leaves hesitated to whisper. The texture of the air had changed. It was humid and heavy, carrying the scent of frozen time from under the earth. The cracked obsidian staff in Murk's right hand trembled slightly as he approached. This trembling was not from the staff, but a resonance created by the ancient power of the place. It was the darkest moment of the night. The sky was not illuminated by either the full moon or starlight. It was just a thick, purple-black blanket. At the very peak, Murk held his breath. Before him, a vast, rectangular door rose, looking as if it had been carved from a single stone. The surface was covered with hieroglyphs of no known language. This was the legendary Lost Fortress of the Silent Guardians. Murk knew the fortress was only visible under the light of a full moon. But there was no moon today. This indicated that the enchantment keeping the door invisible was tied not just to an astronomical event, but also to the door's own self-seal. This seal was the final resort used by the Guardians to isolate themselves from the flow of time. They put themselves to sleep by bending time, Murk whispered, his voice hoarse and raspy. But time devours even its most loyal servants. Murk believed the way to stop the cosmic miasma threatening the world lay in the Guardians' unfinished ritual. Thus he had to wake them. He slammed his staff onto the ground. He focused on a dangerous ability he rarely used, one he kept tucked away in the back of his mind for dire emergencies, chrono-echo. This was the power to summon the energy of a past moment, briefly recreating its effect in the present. The risk was that manipulating time with magic energy always carried the danger of backlash. Murk closed his eyes. In his mind, he visualized the final full moon night when the Silent Guardians sealed themselves. He imagined the silver light of that night, the energy of sacrifice hanging in the air, and the final seal blow that closed the door. Murk was aiming for the total energy of the seal moment, the compound of these events. Sweat poured down Murk's forehead as he channeled all his strength into the staff. The obsidian began to glow with a violet light. "Come back," he hissed, "just for a moment." Suddenly, the purple-black sky above the hill tore. No, not the sky, the fabric of time tore. A blinding, silver beam of light, reflecting a single second of a past moment, struck the door. With a crash, the door slid back with a deep, roaring sound, as if abruptly awakened from its millennia-long slumber. The air emerging from inside was cold, stale, and carried the strange, metallic smell of dreams ending. Murk smiled in triumph. Chrono-echo had worked. He had stolen the energy of the full moon for an instant to open the door. But the cost of this brief manipulation was heavy. Murk felt a throbbing in his temples, and his staff emitted thin smoke from the overload. Inside, a dim and icy corridor stretched out. The walls were covered with crystallized shadows and cobwebs. Murk took a step. From the end of the corridor, an echoing, muffled voice was heard. The sound was less like words and more like the vibration of a suppressed grief spanning thousands of years. "Who wakes us? Who stole time and disturbed our sleep?" Murk proceeded. In the vast chamber he finally reached, hundreds of figures lay motionless inside crystal cocoon-like seals, as if made of ice. These were the Silent Guardians. But on the central podium, one cocoon was shattered. The Guardian who had emerged was different from the rest. His armor was dull and pale, and his face was contorted not with millennia of sorrow, but with disgust. "I am Elder Murk," Murk said, clutching his staff tightly. "I have come to wake you. The outside world is threatened by the cosmic miasma you once tried to stop." The awakened Guardian slowly raised his head. His eyes were not the crystal blue of the sleep seals, but a shade of poisonous green. A tremor, like a permanent scar left by the miasma, ran through the Guardian's body. "Miasma?" the Guardian growled. "Did it not already win? While we were here, when one of us betrayed the rest?" Murk's heart turned to ice in his chest. Betrayal? What are you saying? The guardian, looking at the crystal cocoon fragments with disgust, slowly spread his arms. My name is Kalen, he said. And the one who caused the miasma to be unleashed was not an external enemy. It was one of us. Kalen leaned towards Murk. His poisonous green eyes noticed the fatigue and the tremor from the chronoecho in Murk's eyes. I am not the only one who has slept here for thousands of years, Murk. And the sole danger lying in this fortress is not the miasma. The traitor is still among us, and waking up. And the bigger problem is that the sleep seals are shattering. The guardians are waking. But which one is the traitor? Poisonous eyes and shattering seals. Murk's accusation caused a shockwave in the crystal cocoon chamber. Kalen's poisonous green eyes narrowed dangerously. The other guardians, Elara, Talon, and Lyra, were just about to wake. This is nonsense, Elara. Kalen shouted, his voice suddenly metallic. This stranger is hallucinating from the fatigue of chronoecho. I bear the miasma's poison because I was the one who tried to stop it at the moment of betrayal. Those traitors blocked me. Elara, with the demeanor of the Guardian's leader, had seen how Murk was affected by chronoecho. Murk's hands were trembling, and the veins around his eyes were prominent. It was clear that this new magic mercilessly drained the user's physical energy. Kalen, Elara said, we must clarify things. If there is a traitor among us, it negates the sacrifice of all these thousands of years. Elder Murk, how certain was the information your time echo gave you? Was it just a reflection or a memory? Murk leaned on his staff and took a deep breath. It showed me the energy trace of the lie. The moment the shield fell was reflected in my mind for a second. And in that moment, I saw a reflection on a piece of armor on your arm, the color of your eyes. Poisonous green. This means the energy I saw originated from your connection to the miasma. Talon, a large and stern-looking guardian, stepped forward. That means nothing. We were all in that battle. Light reflections can be misleading. Just then, the larger cocoon masses around the chamber began to shake violently. The energy of the outside world entering through the open door was weakening the other seals. The sounds of cracking increased. 10 more guardians woke up and looked around in confusion and fear. Chaos was escalating. Kalen seized the opportunity and lunged at Murk. His speed was incredible for someone who had slept for millennia. His goal was to neutralize Murk's staff and prevent him from using chronoecho again. A faint, poisonous vapor rose from Kalen's armor. The traitor is you, Murk? Kalen roared. You broke these seals and left us defenseless against the cosmic miasma. Murk dodged just in time. My goal was to stop it, not to wake you prematurely. The only defense that came to Murk's mind was to use a chronoecho to slow Kalen's energy. But this time he would try sending a very brief echo not into the past but into the future, to erase 1 second of his speed. This was theoretically possible but practically suicidal. If he failed, the reverse current in time could utterly dissolve him. As soon as Murk touched Kalen's armor, he focused the chronoecho energy onto Kalen. Cut the thread of time. Kalen froze momentarily in midair. His movements slowed as if submerged in thick jelly. Murk had gained an advantage through this very brief future echo. Kalen was moving without knowing it, according to 1 second ago. Murk used this pause to retreat and shouted to Elara. Listen. The seals are shattering fast. You must tell us about the unfinished ritual to stop the miasma, or we will all perish. Elara was both frightened and impressed by the power of Murk's time echo. Whispers rose among the guardians. When Kalen recovered from the effect, he glared at Murk furiously. You forgot that ritual, Elara. It was already incomplete, and the power crystals were shattered. No, Elara said with determination in her eyes. The ritual can be completed. But we need one thing, a focal point to reverse the power of the pledge of betrayal. Kalen is right, the main crystals are gone. But there might be an alternative for the completion of the ritual. Elara looked at Murk's trembling obsidian staff. The tip of the staff glowed with violet and silver tones from the effect of chronoecho. Elder Murk, your staff. It carries both the power to manipulate time and was once a piece of the ancient seal stone used. The new focal point needed for the ritual could be your staff. But this could drain all its power and your life energy. Despite the headache and the feeling of exhaustion in his body, Murk did not hesitate. The salvation of the outside world was more important than the mistake of these guardians. My staff is yours to command, Elara. What must I do? Elara was impressed by Murk's resolve. First, we must see the moment of betrayal clearly. The energy of that event is the key to reversing the ritual. Murk, using the power of your chronoecho, We must infiltrate the very moment the betrayal occurred. A clear image of that moment is our only chance to identify the traitor. Kalen roared with poisonous green eyes when he heard Murk's intention to use his staff for the ritual. Don't. If you use that staff, you will reveal not only the traitor, but also the true power source that enabled the miasma to be unleashed. And that power source. Kalen paused, writhing in pain. That power source is hidden in this fortress. Murk, Eldra is lying to you. Seeing the moment of betrayal will cause you to be corrupted as well. Elder Murk faced an impossible dilemma. Despite Kalen's dire warnings, the leader of the Guardians, Eldra, insisted that the only way to stop the cosmic miasma was by recreating the moment of betrayal using my newly learned chrono-echo magic. This is a risk that could cost me my life and my sanity. The fortress is on the brink of collapse, and Murk's options are limited. Murk's words, "My staff is yours to command," echoed in the icy fortress like an oath. Eldra breathed a sigh of relief. The other Guardians, Talon, Lyra, and a dozen newly awakened warriors, gathered around the podium. Some looked at Murk with suspicion, while most remained silent out of their millennia-long loyalty to Eldra. Kalen, however, was trembling with fury. His poisonous green eyes darted between Murk and Eldra. "This is suicide, Eldra. If you take him into that moment, the miasma's energy will shatter his mind." A weak echo of chrono-echo almost broke him already. To see the whole moment, that is delivering Murk to the miasma. Kalen's voice betrayed his own pain and fear. "Enough, Kalen," Eldra said sternly. "Your corruption is clouding your judgment. Elder Murk's power is our only chance. Guardians, to your ritual positions. We need to channel Murk's chrono-echo. Talon, you and Lyra prepare the seal circle. If Murk's energy scatters, we are all lost." Talon and Lyra immediately began arranging 7 ancient stones around the podium. These stones were small, spare fragments of the Silent Guardian's main seal crystals. "Murk," Eldra said, looking Murk directly in the eyes. "Chrono-echo touches the thread of time. But the moment of betrayal contains not just the thread of time, but also pure energy and poison. To protect you, I must enter that moment with you simultaneously. Our minds will be bound in a single node. We will see everything for better or worse." Murk handed his staff to Eldra. "How long can we hold my mind?" Eldra touched the cracked tip of the staff. "A few seconds. The longer we stay, the greater the risk of the miasma's poison seeping into our minds. We must be able to bear the full weight of the true moment of betrayal." The ritual began. Eldra and Murk sat on the podium with the staff between them. Talon and Lyra placed the spare crystals in a circle around Murk. The Guardians began to whisper ancient sealing incantations. These words, combined with Murk's chrono-echo energy, began to rewind time. Murk closed his eyes. His mind was instantly hurled thousands of years back. The first thing he saw was a colossal tower, the Ethereum Tower, headquarters of the Silent Guardians. The tower stretched into the sky and glowed with violet energy. Then came the sounds, screams, explosions, and that familiar nauseating drone, the roar of the miasma. The cosmic miasma had begun to devour the sky. Murk's and Eldra's minds were merged. Eldra's voice echoed in Murk's mind, "Focus, Murk." Which Guardian dropped the shield? Who was betrayed? The image cleared. The tower was burning. The Guardians were gathered around the main seal crystal to complete the final phase of the ritual. The goal of the ritual was to reverse time to stop the miasma. But during the ritual, a figure suddenly attacked a Guardian from behind. The attacker was disguised. However, during the assault, a shield adorned with tearstone ornaments, which Kalen had mentioned, fell to the ground from the attacker's armor. Murk thought Kalen was right. The one who dropped the shield was one of Eldra's group. Talon, Lyra, or one of the other newly awakened. But Murk focused on what chrono-echo had taught him, the energy trace. The energy of the poisonous spell the attacker cast was dark, poisonous green. And this energy was not only fed from the attacker's hand, but also from a small, previously unnoticed corrupted power source hidden right next to the seal crystal. This power source was the secret source Kalen had mentioned. Murk tried to shout as his mind began to cloud with the miasma's poison. Corrupted source. Hidden right here in the fortress. Just then, one of the Guardians broke ranks from the ritual circle and leaped forward. It was one of the awakened Guardians. He had a dagger in his hand and his target was Murk's staff. Real time returned. Murk and Eldra were flung onto the podium from the chrono-echo vortex. Their eyes were watering from the poison. "Traitor!" roared Kalen. He pointed at the Guardian who broke the ritual circle. Lyra. It was always her. But Murk, rising from the floor, remembered the energy trace he saw in the moment of true betrayal. Lyra was attacking, but her energy was blue, not poisonous green. Lyra was only disrupting the circle. What about Kalen? Why was he so obsessed with the moment of betrayal? Murk looked at Kalen. Kalen's poisonous green eyes carried the color of the betrayal spell they had just witnessed. Murk ignored Lyra and shouted at Kalen with all his strength, "It's a lie. I saw it in the moment of betrayal. The poisonous green energy was feeding from that corrupted power source. And your eyes, Kalen, are the same color as the source's energy. You were not a witness to that moment of betrayal, Kalen. You were a part of it. And that secret power source, where is it hidden?" Kalen's revelation and the heart of chaos. Murk's accusation against Kalen, "You were a part of that moment of betrayal. And that secret power source, where is it hidden?" struck the shaken fortress chamber like lightning. The disgust on Kalen's face suddenly turned into immense pain and defeat. He opened his mouth to scream, but only a gurgling sound escaped his throat. The miasma's poison was taking captive his mind and vocal cords. At that moment, Lyra made one last move with her dagger towards Murk's staff. Lyra's intention was to shatter the staff and ensure the ritual's failure. Some guardians tried to stop Lyra, while others were stunned by the accusation against Kalen. The scene was pure chaos. Murk's staff was trembling from the heavy use of Chrono Echo, and Murk did not have the strength to counter Lyra's move. If the staff was shattered, the seal stone remnants inside would explode, and the miasma's poison would spread throughout the chamber. "Lyra, stop!" shouted Elara with the last ounce of her power. Murk had to keep his composure. He couldn't stop Lyra with physical force, but he could play with time. Murk quickly spun his staff and focused Chrono Echo not on Lyra's dagger, but on the past of the metal at the dagger's tip. Metal frailty. This was the most subtle time manipulation Murk had ever attempted. He sent a fleeting echo to the weakest, undrawn moment hundreds of years ago of the metal the dagger was made of. The dagger instantly lost its resilience without changing shape. Lyra's dagger turned into dust in midair, just before hitting Murk's staff. Lyra stared at her empty hand in astonishment. This momentary victory drew the attention of the Guardians onto Murk. The power of Chrono Echo was undeniable. Murk used this moment to turn to Kalen immediately. Kalen was writhing on the ground, his poisonous energy seeping out of his armor. "Speak, Kalen. Where is the corrupted power source?" shouted Murk. Kalen raised his head with great effort. I tried to stop it. I had to disrupt the ritual. Because the miasma was corrupting it." "Corrupting what?" asked Elara in astonishment and horror. Kalen pointed his trembling finger towards the deepest part of the fortress. "The secret source, it was our founding heart. The architecture of the fortress. The lost tomb where we sealed the soul of the Guardian's first leader. The miasma was feeding on the energy of that tomb. If I hadn't disrupted the ritual, our founding heart would have served the miasma's poison forever." Murk quickly looked at Elara. "Founding heart? You sealed a leader's soul?" Elara nodded, her face pale. "Our founder sealed his power into the fortress at the moment of his downfall. It was our greatest power source. No one knew its location. Only Kalen knew." Tears flowed from Kalen's eyes, but they were poisonous tears mixed with the miasma's poison. "The traitor was my fellow guardian. He attacked me during the ritual and dropped my shield. He was serving the miasma. But the location of the lost tomb was unknown to anyone. That's why it couldn't be sealed." "You are lying," said Murk. "I saw in that moment of betrayal that the poisonous green energy was the color of your eyes. You knew the location of the lost tomb and you were corrupting it." Kalen, with a final burst of strength, leaped up from the ground towards Murk. "No, I am only the victim." Kalen's body suddenly flashed with a purple-green light. An uncontrollable explosion of miasma energy occurred. Kalen, unable to control the poison's power, had completely corrupted himself. The Guardians were thrown back by the force of the blast. When the explosion subsided, Kalen was gone. In his place, only an ancient symbol remained, burning on the wall in a poisonous green color. Lyra immediately approached Murk. There was not panic, but astonishing determination on her face. Kalen was completely overtaken by the miasma. It wasn't him attacking us, but a puppet corrupted by the miasma. "That symbol, that is a map showing the location of the lost tomb, Murk. We must stop the corruption of our founder's soul. If the miasma completely devours that soul, the catastrophe cannot be stopped." Elara, however, looked at Murk with suspicion. "I don't understand how your Chrono Echo saw such a high level of corruption energy, Murk. Perhaps that poison has changed something in your mind too. The terrifying revelation from Kalen, who vanished from the fortress, pointed the way to the source of the main threat, the lost tomb beneath the fortress. The symbol Kalen left behind is a map. The miasma is corrupting the founding heart, the sealed soul of the Guardian's leader. Elara suspects that the chronoecho used by Murk has tainted him. The symbol Kalen left, a poisonous green mark burned into the wall, indicated the entrance to the lost tomb. The entrance was under a circular hatch in the main chamber floor, which had gone unnoticed before. The hatch was protected by magic much thicker and heavier than the seal Murk broke with chronoecho. Murk, Elara and Lyra, taking their lanterns and spare magic crystals, descended into the underground dungeons. Talon and the other newly awakened guardians remained in the main chamber of the fortress, trying to prevent the seals from completely shattering and more miasma effects from leaking in. The stairs descending into the dungeons were narrow, damp, and covered with crystallized ice. With every step, a stronger metallic smell, the scent of the miasma's poison, filled their nostrils. "This smell," Lyra whispered, her voice trembling with tension. "It's the purest form of miasma. It must have accumulated here for thousands of years." Elara turned to Murk. There was cold inquiry in her eyes. "Murk, I will ask you to use the chronoecho again. But you must know this, your magic touches the thread of time. The energy here is so corrupted that every echo you cast, a piece of poison can seep into your mind. Why do you think Kalen corrupted so quickly?" "My intention is good, Elara," Murk replied. "Kalen had his own history of corruption." Elara shrugged. "Kalen was our strongest time mage. Perhaps the miasma's most virulent corruption targets the strongest mage. Your chronoecho ability is very similar to his." As their journey progressed, the dungeons became more complex. At a junction, a wall suddenly collapsed. Behind it, crystallized shadow figures, constantly rebuilding themselves by reversing their time, appeared. These were fortress guards protected by the Guardian's own magic, but now corrupted by the miasma. Lyra and Elara engaged the shadow figures with their swords. Murk, instead of focusing on fighting, had to use chronoecho in a much subtler way. He had to target the exact moment the shadow figures vanished, stealing that moment's energy from them. "Drain the energy." Murk quickly spun his staff. He tried to absorb the energy from the moment hundreds of figures vanished. This was harder than fighting. It was like trying to sew up holes in the fabric of time. Each time he absorbed the energy, the figures rebuilt themselves weaker. However, Murk's mind was filling up with this stolen energy, adding to the fatigue of chronoecho. A failure. A moment of inattention. Murk couldn't control a part of the energy he absorbed, and some of it rebounded into his mind. His eyes momentarily reflected a shade of poisonous green. Lyra cried out, "Murk, your eyes." Murk shook himself back to lucidity. "It's nothing. Just exhaustion." The shadow figures were completely gone. But the suspicion on Elara's face had now turned into conviction. "We can't go any further," Elara said, pointing to the large, metal door at the end of the dungeons. "This is the true entrance to the lost tomb. The door is sealed with a time lock." As Kalen's corruption accelerated, the secret to opening this lock was lost to the miasma along with him. To open this lock, Murk, you must use chronoecho to rewind to the exact second the door was sealed. This was the most difficult chronoecho Murk had ever attempted. Rewinding an entire second to a sealing moment thousands of years ago could consume all the staff's energy and half of Murk's life force. Murk rested his staff against the door. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes. His mind plunged once more into the vortex of time. He was looking for the sealing moment. The sealing moment slowly emerged. The moment the lost tomb door was closed by the last guardians. Murk focused the chronoecho energy onto that moment. The door's mechanism began to hum. Just as Murk was about to hit the right time, chronoecho caused an instantaneous, violent burst of an image in Murk's mind. This was not the moment the door was sealed, but the first moment the miasma began corrupting the founding heart. Murk saw with horror. Kalen, with poisonous green eyes, was quickly dripping a drop of his own blood into a small crack right outside the lost tomb door. This blood was corrupted by the miasma. This meant Kalen was not a victim of the miasma, but was willingly leaking the miasma into the lost tomb. Murk opened his eyes in pain. The door had opened with a roar. A thin stream of blood flowed from Murk's lip. Elara and Lyra looked in astonishment at the open door. Murk, trembling, whispered the truth. Kalen, he wasn't a victim. He was a willing participant. He poisoned the founding heart with his own blood. Murk looked with horror past the open door. The lost tomb was not a tomb chamber as they expected. Beyond the door was a massive, biological miasma mass, beating with thick, purple-green veins. This was the fortress's corrupted, beating heart. The discovery at the end of the 5th episode was more terrifying than the darkest prophecies. The lost tomb was not a grave, but a massive, biological mass beating with the miasma's poison, the fortress's corrupted heart. And the most shocking part, Kalen was not a victim, but a volunteer who poisoned the founding heart with his own blood. When the lost tomb door opened, the sight that greeted Murk, Elara, and Lyra was not that of an ancient graveyard, but the organ of a nightmare. The chamber was covered with thick, purple-green veins. In the middle of the chamber, a colossal dark mass was beating with a slow, muffled rhythm. This was the founding heart, now completely possessed by the miasma. The corrupted heart was slowly sucking all the energy from the fortress. The blood flowing from Murk's lip turned the suspicion on Elara's face into certainty. "Your eyes glowed with poison, Murk. Just like Kalen's," Elara said, her voice no longer commanding but a cold, judging tone. "Is it possible that the time echo corrupted you so quickly? Did you see Kalen's blood drip onto the tomb, or was it shown to you?" Lyra intervened. "Elara, the main danger is here. That biological mass is pumping miasma into the world with every beat." Murk, despite the severe headache, tried to use the last bit of mental clarity remaining from Chrono Echo. "What I saw was real, Elara. Kalen willingly injected the poison. And if we don't complete the ritual, the founding heart will fall under the miasma's complete control. We have no time for further argument." Murk clutched his staff with both hands. "How is the ritual to be completed? Do I only need to use the staff?" Elara hesitated, but the pressure of time forced her. "The ritual requires the focus stone of the lost tomb. It's hidden right in the center of this mass. You must place your staff onto the focus stone with all the Chrono Echo's energy. The seal stone remnants inside the staff will reverse the poison, sealing the miasma again. But this means the complete disintegration of the staff and all the magic within it. And my Chrono Echo ability," Murk finished. "It will also vanish along with the staff," Elara said. "Perhaps it will save your life." Murk had carried his obsidian staff for years. It was a part of his power and identity. But to save the outside world, he was willing to pay the cost, whatever it might be. Lyra drew her sword and began climbing towards the center of the corrupted heart, through the veins. "Murk, I will protect you until you reach the focus stone." The battle began. While Lyra and Elara fought against the miasma-coated guards leaping from the corrupted heart's veins, Murk struggled to climb through the veins towards the center of the heart. With every step, Murk's body, fatigued from Chrono Echo, trembled. The corrupted heart was sending nightmarish whispers into Murk's mind. Whisper, Kalen was right. That founding heart deserved to be poisoned. The Guardians lied. They're using you, Murk. Your magic belongs to us. Don't lose it. Ignoring the whispers, Murk reached the center. In the very middle of the heart, a dazzling, seven-pointed crystal rose, darkened by the miasma's poison, the focus stone. Murk raised his staff into the air. He channeled the last of the Chrono Echo's energy into the staff. The staff began to glow with an intense light in violet and silver tones. Just as he was about to thrust the staff into the stone, a glimpse of an image far more crucial than the moment of Kalen's betrayal flashed in Murk's mind. Kalen, after dripping his poisonous blood onto the stone, was quickly placing something into a hidden compartment right next to it. This was Kalen's true purpose. The poison was merely a disguise. Kalen's whisper, the Guardian's lie had to be exposed, Murk. I did not poison this heart. I merely sealed the pledge of protection. My goal was not to unleash the miasma, but to show the true face of the Guardians. Murk looked, shaking, at the compartment right next to the focus stone. The compartment was concealing what Kalen had hidden. Before plunging the staff into the stone, Murk reached for the compartment. Inside the compartment was a rolled, ancient parchment. Murk pulled the parchment out. It could have been completely poisonous, but Murk chose to believe in the sincerity of Kalen's last moments of agony. Murk glanced at the parchment before thrusting his staff into the stone. The writings glowed with poisonous green miasma energy. What the parchment revealed was the biggest secret the Guardians had hidden for thousands of years. The founding heart was not actually a soul, but a piece of the time-bending key necessary to stop the miasma. And this parchment stated that the other piece of the key was hidden in Elara's armor. Murk looked behind him in horror. While Lyra was fighting, Elara was watching Murk thrust the staff into the stone. The expression on Elara's face was not one of concern, but of a victory she was anticipating. The revelation was earth-shattering. The founding heart was not a soul, but a part of the time-bending key, and the true key was hidden in Elara's armor. Kalen's betrayal was a grand sacrifice meant to expose the Guardian's own treachery. Murk's hand remained suspended on the hilt of the obsidian staff. The tip of the staff glowed with violet-silver chronoecho energy, ready to be thrust into the focus stone. Right behind him, Lyra was still battling the miasma guards. Elara, however, noticed the horror in Murk's gaze as he looked at Kalen's parchment. The corrupted heart began to beat faster. A loud metallic hum screamed that Murk was running out of time to decide. The concern on Elara's face had vanished, replaced by a cold expectation. "Murk," Elara said, her voice finding a strange echo in the acoustics of the lost tomb. "You must do it now. Complete the ritual." Murk looked at the small, seven-pointed seal mark on Elara's armor, just below her left shoulder. The last writing on Kalen's parchment confirmed that this mark was the second half of the time-bending key. What Murk needed to do was read the entire text on the parchment without attracting Elara's attention. To use chronoecho again meant opening his mind further to the miasma's poison. But there was no other way. Murk moved the staff closer to the stone, letting Elara believe he was listening to her. But he focused all his mental strength on slowing the time around the parchment for a single second. Whisper of time. An instant passed in the blink of an eye. To Elara and Lyra, Murk was only looking at the parchment. But in Murk's mind, the words slowly flowed. Parchment text. The Guardians only saw the miasma as a great corruption. But the miasma is a cosmic cleansing. Elara wants to use the Founder's heart to rewind time. But her purpose is not to stop the miasma. She will rewind time to the moment just before the other Guardians started their flawed ritual. Thus, the miasma will be able to exist unrestrained in the universe. Murk's staff is the first part of the key. Elara aims to become the only one who controls universal time by uniting the two pieces. Murk's heart constricted with dread. Elara was not just a traitor, she was a cosmic fanatic. Murk released the slowed time. The energy of the time echo left a sharp ringing in his mind. He quickly tucked the parchment into his pocket. "No, Elara," Murk shouted, quickly pulling his staff back instead of plunging it into the focus stone. "I know. Kalen was not a traitor, he was a sacrifice. You want not to stop the miasma, but to unleash it." The expectation on Elara's face instantly turned into a terrible fury. Her mask had fallen. "Foolish stranger. What did Kalen's poisonous blood show you? The miasma brings chaos, and chaos is rebirth. I will save this world from the flawed seals of the corrupted Guardians." Elara immediately ceased fighting Lyra and touched the seven-pointed seal mark on her armor. The seal glowed with a bright, metallic violet light. "Time key part 2. Activate." Lyra turned to Murk in horror, seeing Elara's betrayal. "Elara? Impossible." "It's true, Lyra," Murk shouted. "She only pretended to want to stop the miasma. Now the real time-bending game begins." Elara, trembling with the violet glow, locked her eyes onto Murk's obsidian staff. "Give me your staff, Murk. When the two parts unite, the flow of time will be under my control." Murk held his staff tightly. "Never, as long as a piece of the time-bending key is in my hands." Lyra immediately ran to Murk's side. "What should we do, Elder Murk? The power of the founding heart is feeding the key in Elara's armor. If we don't cleanse the heart of the poison, Elara can use the time key at full power," Murk said. Only one plan came to Murk's mind: to perform the last, most dangerous move of chronoecho. Not to recreate the moment the heart was poisoned, but to rewind time to 1 second before that moment. This would create a localized time warp. It was highly dangerous. Elara roared, "Time-bending key commencement." The violet energy emanating from Elara's armor began to envelop the walls and veins of the lost tomb chamber. The chamber trembled, and the flow of time rapidly started to distort. Murk handed his staff to Lyra. "Lyra, you must use this staff to cut the poisonous veins of the heart. The chronoecho energy of the staff will temporarily slow the miasma's poison. I will stop Elara's time warp." Lyra took the staff from Murk without hesitation. While Lyra fought the miasma guards, Murk focused all his energy on targeting the violet time field Elara had initiated. Murk had to use chronoecho only by using his own body without his staff. This meant consuming the source of Murk's magic internally. Flow of time, stop. Murk's body flashed with an instantaneous burst of energy. Elara's violet time field met Murk's energy and suddenly paused. The chamber fell into a temporary silence. Elara was shocked by Murk's ability to use chronoecho without his staff. Without your staff? That's impossible. You are consuming your power internally. A momentary panic appeared on Elara's face, brought on by Murk's sacrifice. Lyra, using this pause, was about to plunge Murk's staff into the corrupted heart's main vein. Just then, the key in Elara's armor began to shake the walls of the lost tomb chamber, narrowing the violet time field. The air in the chamber thickened, and Murk was caught right in the middle of this rapidly narrowing time vortex. Elara's last words echoed in Murk's mind, "You won't reach me, Murk. I am sealing the time of this chamber forever." An incredible sacrifice. Murk, using his own life energy as fuel, managed to break the time warp that Elara was creating. Lyra has the staff and is ready to cut the corrupted heart. But Elara is sealing the entire chamber in an eternal time vortex. Murk's strength is fading fast. The violet energy of the time-bending key in Elara's armor, shaking the walls of the lost tomb chamber, was rapidly narrowing. Murk had managed to stop the violet time field by using his own body as fuel for Chrono Echo, but this was temporary. The life energy that was the fuel for Chrono Echo was rapidly depleting in Murk's veins. Lyra clutched Murk's obsidian staff with both hands. In her eyes, there was fury brought on by the shattering of her millennia-long belief in the Guardian Fellowship, rather than shock. The corrupted heart began to beat faster, accelerating its corruption. Elara roared, "Fools! The miasma promises you freedom. If you destroy that heart, all our shields will fall and the poison will spread irreversibly." "The miasma's only promise is a lie, Elara," shouted Murk, his voice raspy. His body was trembling, his skin starting to turn purple from the overload of Chrono Echo. "Your freedom means the slavery of the universe." Murk knew that if he held the time warp like this for one more second, his body would completely burn out and he would die. But if he stopped holding the time warp, Elara's time field would freeze Lyra and the staff in time forever. The last whisper from Kalen's parchment came to mind. The Guardian's lie had to be exposed. Kalen had said he poisoned the founding heart, but Murk saw the blood was a seal. Kalen's true goal was to seal his Kalen's oath onto the heart. Time shall never be bent until the Guardian's secret is revealed. This was a sacrifice. Kalen, by corrupting the heart with his poisonous blood, had locked the Guardian's time magic, the power Elara was trying to control. Murk thrusting the staff would unlock this seal, releasing Elara's key. Murk had only one chance, to target the point where time was breaking at the center of Elara's violet time field. Murk used Chrono Echo for the last time, channeling all his life energy in his body towards this point. The fracture point of time. Murk's body flashed with a sudden, brilliant violet-silver light. This was Murk's life energy turning into pure Chrono Echo. The blast found the fracture point at the center of Elara's time field and temporarily stretched that point towards the main chamber, where time flowed normally. With a crash, through the temporary time tunnel created by Murk's power, Lyra was flung out of the lost tomb into the main chamber with Murk's staff in her hands. When Lyra reached the main chamber, she slammed the staff with all her strength onto the miasma guards leaping from the corrupted heart. The obsidian staff disintegrated instantly with the last energy of Chrono Echo. As the staff shattered, the seal stone remnants inside exploded, creating a massive violet energy dome that temporarily slowed the miasma's poison. The violet energy dome had stopped the miasma from spreading outside the fortress. The corrupted heart was also stopped by a major cut Lyra made with the staff. But Murk was left behind in the lost tomb chamber. All that remained after the explosion was an exhausted, but still living figure lying on the ground. Elara looked up in shock. "You burned your body? That's madness. That doesn't stop time, it only bends space." Elara approached Murk. Murk's body was weak from the depletion of Chrono Echo. Elara was ready to capture Murk using her key. However, Murk, with one last Chrono Echo, saw that the key in Elara's armor created a flaw in her own mind. The key was bending time, but it was constantly rewinding a memory in Elara's mind. Murk whispered with his last strength, "Time is not just a flow, it is also a burden." Elara reached for Murk. "You won't be able to bear the burden of time, Murk. But I will." Murk's mind momentarily connected to the constantly rewound memory in Elara's mind. Murk understood why Elara used the time key and why she wanted to unleash the miasma. What he saw was that Elara had been trapped in a cycle created by the miasma itself thousands of years ago. Murk, with the last power of Chrono Echo, managed to reverse this cycle in Elara's mind. Elara suddenly opened her eyes. The violet time field collapsed. There was not fury on Elara's face, but 1,000 years of regret. "What did you do, Murk? That cycle, it's broken." But You unleashed the source of the miasma. The true poison is not in this fortress. It's somewhere else. An amazing sacrifice. Murk, by burning his own life energy, broke the time cycle in Ilara's mind. But the cost was heavy. Ilara's final words revealed that the miasma's true source is not in this fortress. Murk, with his exhausted body, had broken the time cycle in Ilara's mind. Elara, remorseful, decided to join Murk to find the miasma's true source. Lyra, with the last energy of the shattered staff, maintained the violet energy dome, protecting the fortress and the world from the poison. Now Murk and Elara, armed with the 2 pieces of the time-bending key in Kalen's parchment, faced the final, terrifying truth. The miasma was a cosmic wound in the fabric of time itself, and its source was not in the fortress. The source's coordinates are in my mind, Murk said, leaning on Elara. The chrono-echo energy from the dome, channeled through the staff remnants, opened a portal. But where does the source lie, Elara? You said the miasma is a wound. Elara, now stripped of her armor and with her mind clear, was focused. The source is a cosmic flaw in time itself, Murk. Thousands of years ago, we discovered that miasma was the manifestation of a flaw, a tear in the fabric of time. So miasma is not a monster, but a disease? Murk asked. Both disease and cleanser, Elara replied. Our ritual aimed to stop the miasma by completely rewinding time. But Kalen was right. Kalen, just before attacking me with his poisonous eyes, was trapped in the miasma's cycle. Elara continued her confession. The miasma constantly made me relive one loop. The moment the ritual failed and the world was destroyed. This cycle created an imperative to betray in my mind. The miasma intended to use me to unite the 2 pieces of the time-bending key. That way, instead of just rewinding time, it could rewrite it in the miasma's desired form. Kalen was the only one who realized this. Murk nodded at Kalen's noble sacrifice. Now, the way to stop the miasma was clear. To unite the 2 parts of the key and reach the miasma's source. The pieces of the key are in me and in your armor, Murk said. My staff is shattered, but the chrono-echo's energy is still suspended in the violet energy dome. This energy can be used as the first piece of the key. Lyra, touching the surface of the violet energy dome, confirmed, this energy won't last forever. It's quickly fading. What should we do? Elara, now with conviction, explained, to reach the source we must open a portal to the origin of time. This is possible even with the shattered energy of chrono-echo. But this action will drain all the energy and completely deplete the life force of the user. Elara looked at Murk determinedly. Murk, you are too weak. I, as the one who started this mistake, am ready to pay the price. Lyra, gather the chrono-echo energy from the dome using the staff remnants and channel it into my time key. This will open the portal to the source. No, Elara, Murk said, getting up with difficulty. Your leadership is needed. My chrono-echo is more suited to bending time. If a sacrifice is to be made, it is my duty. Murk, not allowing Elara to object, walked towards the center of the violet energy dome. The energy strained Murk's weak body. Lyra extended the largest piece of the obsidian staff to Elara. Elara, this piece of the staff carries the concentrated power of chrono-echo. I will channel the energy from the dome to you. You can then transfer it to Murk. This way he won't bear the entire burden alone. Elara was amazed by Lyra's loyalty and ingenuity. Clever Lyra. This might reduce the strain on Murk's body. The 3 united for one last action. Lyra began gathering the energy of the violet energy dome with the staff piece. Elara activated the key in her armor and reached out to Murk. Murk focused all his energy on receiving this pure chrono-echo flow from Elara. Buzzing. The lost tomb chamber was filled with trembling time and pure energy. The energy flowing from Lyra to Elara to Murk was not healing Murk's body, but only making him a temporary energy reservoir. In Murk's mind, the flow of universal time appeared. Be ready, Murk shouted, his eyes glowing with violet chrono-echo energy. The source's coordinates are in my mind. The portal is opening. Murk released all the energy. The walls of the lost tomb chamber tore open. Before them there were no stars, galaxies, or planets, only an instantaneous view of the source of the cosmic miasma. A vulnerable instantaneous vortex where time itself was born like a baby. The portal had opened. Murk, Lyra, and Elara were ready to venture into this vortex. But Elara turned to Murk one last time. To destroy the source, both pieces of the time-bending key must remain there. There is no return for both of us, Murk. Here we are, friends, at the climax of our adventure. The miasma source is the instantaneous vortex where time itself was born. Murk, Eldra, and Lyra are ready to enter this vortex for a final sacrifice. But Eldra's last words are chilling. Both pieces of the key must remain there. This means a one-way ticket for Murk and Eldra. The portal opened in the lost tomb chamber was a swirling vortex mixed with violet chronoecho energy and the poisonous green of the miasma. The energy emanating from inside gave a sense of pure chaos, where there was no flow of time. Lyra stood at the edge of the portal, clutching the remnants of the shattered staff. Her eyes were tearful, but her voice was determined. "It's time to go, Elder Murk. Eldra. The fortress is under my protection. Do not fail." Eldra, with a piece of the more-time key, turned to Murk. The seal on her armor was shining with a pale, sad silver light. "Let's go, Murk. Time to pay the price. Kaelin's sacrifice must not be in vain." Murk smiled one last time. Despite the exhaustion in his body, his mind was sharp and clear. He held hands with Eldra, and they stepped into the vortex of time. Whoosh. Murk and Eldra were instantly sucked into the vortex by an energy shock. Their surroundings were filled with pure potential energy, neither light nor darkness. This was the 0 point of time. At the center of the vortex, what they saw was the source of the miasma. Not a monster, but a colossal tear, constantly shimmering like a shattered mirror. This tear was a wound in the fabric of time, and the miasma was leaking into the universe from this wound. The miasma energy, poisonous green in color, pulsed around the tear, like the heart of the cosmic poison. Eldra shouted, "We must unite the key. Murk, your last remnants of chronoecho and my key must unite." Murk and Eldra focused on uniting the two pieces of the time key. Murk channeled the last of his chronoecho energy, which was his life force, into Eldra's key. When the two pieces united, the key turned into a dazzling sphere of violet silver light. As the sphere of light approached the tear, the heart of the miasma tried to resist with a violent energy burst. Waves of poisonous green energy surged towards Murk and Eldra. Eldra roared, "Don't back down, Murk. We must plunge the key into the tear." The heart of the miasma, using its poisonous energy, created instantaneous, tempting images in Murk's mind. A future where Murk gained eternal power with his staff, where he could bend the entire universe as he wished. This was a final attempt at seduction. Murk remembered the deepest whisper of his own chronoecho. "Time is a burden. To carry it is to be corrupted." "I won't leave the burden of time to you," shouted Murk. Murk and Eldra, with their last strength, pushed the key, now transformed into a sphere of light, into the great tear in the fabric of time. Boom. A cosmic explosion sound. As soon as the key entered the tear, all the pure violet silver energy at the 0 point of time was unleashed. The miasma's poisonous green was met by this pure chronoecho energy and instantly neutralized. The heart of time itself, as the wound began to heal, ceased its humming. The heart of the miasma, losing its green poison, turned into a pale, crystalline remnant. Murk and Eldra were thrown back by the depletion of energy. The key remained sealed within the tear, sealing the fabric of time forever. The process was complete. The source of the miasma was sealed. Murk and Eldra, exhausted but having completed their mission, floated in the center of a silent and calm vortex. "We did it," Murk whispered, his voice trembling from fatigue. Eldra smiled. The seal on her armor was gone. Yes, but the cost. As the time-bending key was sealed into the tear, it left behind one final energy echo. This echo entered Murk's body and did not erase the fatigue of chronoecho, but gave him a new purpose. Murk could no longer rewind or fast-forward time. But now he could sense when and where time itself needed help. He was no longer a mage but the silent guardian of time. Murk and Eldra returned to the lost tomb chamber through a small, stable portal that formed at the edge of the vortex. Lyra burst into tears when she saw them. "You returned? You succeeded." Murk smiled. "Just a little tired, Lyra. And without a staff." Eldra turned to Lyra. "Kaelin's sacrifice was not in vain. He saved us. Now we Guardians need new leadership and a new vision to protect the world. Lyra, you possess the true Guardian spirit." Eldra removed her armor. She handed over the responsibility of the Guardian Fellowship to Lyra. Eldra's corrupted cycle was broken, and she decided to leave the fortress to face her own regrets. As Murk walked out of the fortress gates, he looked at Eldra. "Where to now?" "Into the unknown, Murk," Eldra said. "Just like when we went to find the miasma source. But now at least we are free." Murk stood on the peak of the endless forest. His staff was gone. His old power was gone. But now he carried an echo of universal time itself. Murk smiled. The adventure had ended. But the fact that the miasma was only a wound gave Murk a new quest. Murk sensed a small tremor appearing in the flow of time, far away. This was the signal of a new danger, a new flaw in time. Murk turned his back and set off on his new adventure. Elder Murk was no longer just a mage but the guardian of time itself. And so, friends, the epic journey of Elder Murk, the Silent Guardians, comes to a close. We sealed the source of the miasma. Ilara departed to face her past. Lyra became the new leader of the Guardians. And I lost the power of Chrono Echo but became a part of time itself. Now I can sense where time needs help. Thank you for joining me on this cosmic journey. May your own journey be filled with truth and courage. Until the next adventure, take care of your clock. Because time, at any moment, can turn into an adventure. Farewell.